Yesterday, Toy Story changed forever. Mike Mozart, friend of Joe Ranft, who basically wrote the first 2 Toy Story films, told the true story of one of the biggest Toy Story mysteries, what happened to Andy's dad, to the SuperCarlinBrothers. And it's just incredible. I'm still at a loss for words now, and I literally watched this video for the first time 16 hours ago. If you somehow haven't seen it, which I find hard to believe because that story will be everywhere in the next week, just go watch it now. I'll make sure to leave a link to that video in the description below. It's much better than this video, and you'll actually need to have seen it to understand some parts of this video. Ever since I've watched the video though, all I've been able to think about is this going to be incorporated into Toy Story 4? And it feels too early to be speculating about Toy Story 4 because like the first trailer is still like 16 months away. But you know, I love Toy Story, so let's do this. Hello there! How you doing? Toy Story is considered by most to be a rare, perfect trilogy, which is basically a trilogy where every film improves upon its predecessor. Not everyone agrees that Toy Story 3 is better than Toy Story 2, which is better than Toy Story 1, but most agree there isn't really a weak link in this trilogy. Like, look at their Rotten Tomatoes rating. And this means that the expectations of Toy Story 4 are going to be sky high. And the announcement of Toy Story 4 didn't even go down too well, because Toy Story 3 is viewed by most as the perfect ending to the perfect trilogy about a boy's adventures with his toys as he eventually grows out of them and passes them on to someone else. But I'm still confident Toy Story 4 can be good. And in my opinion, for Toy Story 4 to improve upon the rest of the films and make this the perfect saga, they have to do 5 things. First, let's just start with what we know about this film, and that's that this is a love story reuniting Woody with Bo Peep. And this is great, and not just because I'm a Hufflepuff and value this sort of thing, because they need to make sure that they put emphasis on the fact that Woody and Bo Peep are a couple and not Woody and Jessie, and that Buzz and Jessie are a couple and not Woody and Jessie. Because I'm just getting too sick of people believing that Woody and Jessie are a couple just because they're a cowboy and a cowgirl. No! Secondly, Andy has to be in this film. As I said earlier, many people see Toy Story as the perfect story about a boy growing up. And obviously they tell this story through his toys as he eventually grows out of them and gives them away. And many people think the only direction they can go to continue this theme is to pass the toys down to Andy's children. I personally don't think this is the way forward though, because they were literally passed on to Bonnie in Toy Story 3. And if Bonnie grows out of them and passes them on in Toy Story 4, this film's going to feel very familiar to the last one. And it will get a lot of criticism if it's too similar to one of the films before it. Don't believe me? Well, look how much criticism The Force Awakens got for being like A New Hope, but this is besides the point. Andy being included in this film is essential because for nostalgia's sake, and let's not forget the films were about his toys. And I don't think you can end the saga without him featuring in the last one. And I'm optimistic about this because Laurie Metcalf, who plays Andy's mum, has been confirmed for Toy Story 4. And talking about Andy's mum, thirdly, they can make this film so much more interesting by adding to her backstory. And I'm sure you know how they could do this. If they refer to her as Emily or have some sort of subplot revealing that she's actually Jessie's previous owner, that would add so much to her backstory. Because this is literally the most popular Toy Story theory out there, and to make it true would just be such a nice touch from the creators of the film. And again, I'm very optimistic about this. Even Tom Hanks has hinted that this might happen. I'm not saying such a flashback might happen in the 4th movie, but check it out. Come on. Next, what they've got to do is explore a new idea. They've explored toys being abandoned, toys being outgrown, daycares, toys being stolen, toys being replaced, toy stores, and just simply toys getting lost. What's next, and what's left to explore? And Pixar can have some creative control over this, but I personally would like them to explore the idea of toys dying. I said that so happily. One of the questions I get asked most commonly is, can toys die? And I personally think they can. Just not through like old age or anything like that. Death to them is being like broken or destroyed, you know, being blown up or burnt. And I know and accept that exploring toy death is by far the least likely on this list, but I still think it'd be interesting to see them try and take this on. Could you imagine if someone died in the film? Chills! And finally, they need to include the story about Andy's dad. They need to explain who he is and his attachment to Woody. I know we already know, but Pixar need to confirm it. And I'm going to explain exactly how they should do it in a way that isn't unfamiliar to the audience. Toy Story is starting to build a reputation for having flashbacks to tragic backstories for characters in their film. The first of these was in Toy Story 2, where Jessie was introduced and they delved into her backstory of how her owner Emily outgrew her. And it's one of the saddest moments in all of the Pixar films. And that is saying something considering this is a company known for making people cry. Then in Toy Story 3 we dive into Lotso's backstory about how his owner Daisy lost him and then her parents replaced him, which caused Lotso to hate humans with a passion. So whose backstory should they reach into in Toy Story 4 to cause a tear-jerking moment for the audience? You guessed it, Woody. They need to include Woody's backstory, the story discussed on the Super Carlin Brothers video in Toy Story 4. And what better way to do it than through a flashback, which causes Woody to realise that Andy's dead. And then they need to use this story to develop the plot, a bit like how they used Buzz realising he was a toy to develop the plot in Toy Story 1. Which just leaves us with the question, did the directors of the film actually know Joe Rant's story about who Andy's dad is? Because John Carlin clearly says in his video,
"From what we can tell, the full story of what we're about to tell you may have only ever been entirely known by one man."
But I'm keeping my fingers crossed, because John Lasseter, who's directing this film, also directed Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2, and would have known Joe Rant pretty well. So maybe for all we know, he helped write this backstory and included this in the plot for Toy Story 4. And if he did, do you think Pixar are mad at the Super Carlin Brothers for spoiling the plot? Either way, I am so excited for Toy Story 4, only 727 days to go. Also, I know this means that my theory about Dash being Molly's father is now incorrect and has been debunked, meaning there won't be a part 2 to that theory. Please don't spam me with comments saying I'm wrong. I know, I'm just happy the truth's out. And there are hardly any unanswered questions about Toy Story now. What are us Toy Story theorists gonna make videos on now? So yeah, thanks for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and click subscribe by clicking here. Check out my other social medias, including Twitter, because, you know, I tweet fire tweets and you've got to follow me. In the description below, you can watch another video by clicking here. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.